I really dived into the BLM issue as a teenager, it really emotionally affected me. And I think that's how most teenagers feel. Seeing all of these videos, I think, is really emotionally impactful. So it
Yeah.
makes sense why this is such a huge radicalizing issue for teenagers. However, I didn't understand the state component of it. I thought it was explicitly a racial issue.
Mhm.
And there were a lot of things that challenged my view of that. And also, you know, I think I talked about this in the first episode. There was a guy named Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who was killed by police. And I remember the whole city just got really on edge. I don't know if you ever experienced this in your own hometown the first time around. I know protests kind of went everywhere across the country in 2020, but in 2016, that was the really like the first mass movement of BLM. And so I remember it came to my city because this man was unjustly killed. And that was really emotionally impactful for everyone in the city. I mean, everyone was outraged. And I remember I was a teenager working food service at the time, and a group of police officers came in to get some food, and the whole restaurant went quiet. Like you could hear a pin drop. It was really intense. Um, and eventually someone broke and like shook their hands and wished them well during this really tough time because the protests were getting a little out of control. And I remember my stepmom at the time was an EMS worker, and she let us know like, hey, you should get out of the city. There are people threatening to come down and start just like killing white people and cops randomly. And at the time, I was super pro BLM, and that kind of challenged it a little for me because I
Yeah.
realized, oh, if we're splitting this up into purely a racial issue, then we're really getting into, okay, there's a war and there's two sides and it's completely split on race, right?
Yeah.
Um, we did leave the city and then we came back after the weekend. That week, I woke up to news that I think it was 4 police officers had been killed in my city. A man did come down from Missouri and just like open fire on a bunch of police officers at a gas station really close to my parents' house. And that really set into motion for me um, a really big ideological shift. Not that I became pro thin blue line at that point, but I realized this is so much more of a human issue. And there's something deeper to this, right?
Mhm.